I didn't expect a TikTok to ruin my life. But then again, I never imagined my own daughter would be the one to post it. It was a regular morning. I woke up around 6. I made myself some coffee. I sat at my desk, opened my laptop, and checked my email. That's when I saw them. Hundreds of notifications. Some were just mean. Some were brutal. Deadbeat. Failure of a father. Monster. I didn't understand what was happening. I thought I'd been hacked. Or maybe someone started a rumor about me. It only took a few minutes to find out. Maddie, my daughter, had posted a video, a short one, 90 seconds. But those 90 seconds, they tore through my life like a hurricane. In the video, she said, "When I was 5 years old, my dad left our family, his wife and 4 kids, to pursue amateur breakdancing." She smiled as she said it, the kind of sarcastic smile people find charming on TikTok. The video was funny, sharp, relatable. It went viral almost immediately. Millions of views, hundreds of thousands of likes, tens of thousands of comments. People laughed. They sympathized. They attacked me. It was everywhere. Even Elon Musk left a comment. "You rock. You are an amazing father." And I thought, is this a joke? It wasn't. She added more. "He was good at it, actually. He got famous. He danced on Good Morning America, gave interviews, made headlines. But he didn't pay my medical bills." The internet ate it up. The contrast was too perfect. The dancing dad who forgot his daughter. It was internet gold. But it was a lie. A funny lie. But a lie nonetheless. I watched the video all the way through. I'll be honest, part of me laughed too. She's clever. She's talented. And God knows I love her. But as her father, I knew something had to be said. I couldn't just sit there and be destroyed by a meme. Because what the world didn't know, what that 90-second video never mentioned, was the truth, and the truth. Well, the truth wasn't quite as viral. Before we get to the controversy, the courtrooms, the jail cell, I think it's important you know who I really am. My name is Ben Hart. I'm a father. I'm also a break dancer. Yes, still, at 66 years old. But first and foremost, I'm a father of 4. I didn't grow up rich. I didn't grow up dancing either. I built my life the hard way, through the advertising business. In the early 2000s, I ran my own agency. Long hours, big clients, and plenty of stress. But I made good money, and I provided for my family. I wasn't a perfect man. Not then, not now. But I never abandoned my responsibilities. I married Betsy, my ex-wife, back when we were young and full of plans. We had 4 children together, Peter, Tori, Maddie, and Olivia. And we had years of normalcy, vacations, soccer games, birthday cakes. But over time, things began to fray. Arguments, misunderstandings, resentment. That's marriage, right? Some survive, some don't. Ours didn't. By the time 2004 rolled around, we were barely speaking. We lived in the same house, but it felt like we were in different worlds. Eventually, we separated, officially divorced in 2005. And yes, the divorce was painful. For both of us. But I didn't leave the kids. That part matters. We lived in LaGrange, Illinois. After the divorce, I moved into a house about a mile away. Sidewalks the whole way. I didn't vanish. I just wasn't under the same roof. The narrative my daughter later gave, that I just left, wasn't entirely her fault. She was 5. She remembers what 5-year-olds remember. One day Dad was at the kitchen table, the next he wasn't. But what she didn't know, what no 5-year-old can understand, is everything I did behind the scenes to support her, to support all of them. I didn't just walk away, I built an exit that gave them everything. And that part, well, that's where this story gets complicated. Divorce is never simple, but mine was brutal. When Betsy and I separated, I made a choice. I didn't want a war. I didn't want my kids to be caught in the middle. So I gave her almost everything, not 50-50, not close. I gave her 97 of all our marital assets. That included the house, the cars, investments, even the artwork, all of it. I kept just enough to keep my business going. At least that's what I thought. But life doesn't always follow your plans. As part of the agreement, I also committed to substantial support payments. $18,000 a month. Child support and alimony. Eventually it dropped to $12,000. But I paid. Month after month, I paid for medical bills, health insurance, education, clothing, travel, all the little expenses that add up when you're raising 4 kids. I also created a college fund, $600,000 set aside so they could attend the best schools no matter what. In total, I paid out over $4 million in 2005 dollars. With inflation, that's well over $6 million today. And all of it, like every dollar, was given willingly. I didn't fight. I didn't argue. I wanted Betsy and the kids to feel safe, stable, and supported, even if it left me with nothing. Now, why did I agree to that? Why give up so much? Because I thought I could rebuild. I had a good business, strong clients. I believed I could start over. And because, most of all, I didn't want my kids growing up thinking their dad fought their mom over money. I wanted to be the bigger person, the peacemaker, the father who sacrificed. But here's the part I didn't expect. It wasn't enough, no matter what I gave. Somehow, I became the villain. After the divorce, I tried to keep things normal. I moved just a short distance away, still in LaGrange, Illinois. I was always close enough to walk or bike to my children's home. I picked them up. I took them out to eat. We went to movies. We celebrated birthdays. From the outside, I was no longer the man of the house. But in my heart, I was still their dad. Always. I wasn't there every single day, no. That's what divorce does. But I showed up. When they were sick, I was there. When they had a concert or a game, I was there. When they needed school supplies, braces, trips, rides, money, I was there. I stayed involved in every way I could. Now let's talk about breakdancing. Maddie said I left the family to go pursue breakdancing. But the timeline? It doesn't hold up. We divorced in 2005. I started dancing in 2012. That's a full 7 years later. I was 54 when I first stepped into a breakdancing class. It wasn't a dream. It wasn't a goal. It was just a way to stay healthy. One day I tried a spin. I didn't fall. And I thought, hey, that was kind of fun. So I kept going. It became a hobby, a creative outlet. Eventually, yes, I got good at it. Really good. I went viral for dancing at 60. People called me Break Dad. I was featured on Good Morning America, Danced with Paula Abdul, did some fun interviews, but it was never a career. It never replaced my role as a father. It never took priority over my kids. I shared that part of my life online because it brought people joy. But joy isn't what some people wanted from me. Some people, including my ex-wife, wanted to remind the world of every mistake I'd ever made, every flaw, every failure. So when Maddie posted that video, funny as it was, it fed right into the version of me they always wanted to believe. And that hurt more than I can describe. The real trouble started when I ran out of money. Not because I spent recklessly, not because I ignored my responsibilities, but because I gave everything. I'd paid over $4 million by that point. Nearly all of my assets were gone. What little remained, I used to keep my business running. But that business began to crumble. Why? Because during the divorce, Betsy, my ex-wife, subpoenaed my clients. She wanted to know if I was hiding assets. So her lawyers contacted the people I worked with, served them legal notices, dragged them into depositions. It scared them off. One by one, they backed away. My income collapsed. The business I had worked so hard to build, it was gone. I was left with mounting debt, dwindling income, and one last payment I couldn't make, $100,000. That's what I still owed under the divorce agreement. Then came the court date. I didn't have a lawyer anymore. I couldn't afford one. I walked in alone. Judge Leslie Alden presided. I tried to explain, Your Honor, I've paid millions. I'm not refusing to pay. I just don't have it right now. My business was destroyed. I need time to rebuild. She didn't care. She asked me 3 times, When will you pay the $100,000? And each time I gave the same honest answer. As soon as I can, Your Honor, but right now I can't. Her response? She turned to the bailiff and said, Return Mr. Hart to the custody of the sheriff. No warning, no negotiation, no mercy. I was handcuffed in court, escorted out of the building like a criminal, sat shackled in a metal chair next to other men waiting to be processed. A deputy glanced at my file and said, Wow, what did you do to get a year in county jail? I said, Wait, a year? He pointed to the screen. There it was. A year sentence, contempt of court, for failing to pay $100,000, after already paying millions. I couldn't believe it. No one warned me. The judge hadn't said a word about the length of the sentence. Just custody of the sheriff. Apparently that was enough. They sent me to Fairfax County Jail. Not minimum security, not a facility for nonviolent offenders. The real thing, concrete, steel, no windows, fluorescent lights and clanging metal doors. My cellmate? A man with 47 prior convictions, including attempted murder. I spent 5 days in there, 5 of the longest days of my life. Eventually, someone reviewed my case, a jail administrator. They saw the details, saw the payments, the receipts. They realized I didn't belong there, and they let me go. But by that point, the damage was already done. To my business, to my reputation, to my children, and most of all, to my heart. When I got out of jail, I thought maybe things would calm down. Maybe my children would hear my side. Maybe we could talk. But the opposite happened. Maddie doubled down. She released another video. She said she didn't know what the financial situation was growing up, that she didn't pay attention to it, but the tone was cold, detached. I reached out. I asked her to take the video down. She refused. Then I texted my oldest daughter, Tori. I said, Hey, call me when you can. She answered, Hi, Dad. I love you, but not now. It's time to stop communicating. The video you posted is full of lies and drags Mom and Maddie down 20 years later. You just let it happen. I'm distancing myself for now. I responded, There were no lies in my video. Maddie attacked me in public. My clients saw it. I had no choice but to answer. I asked her to remove it. She said no. That was it. I haven't heard from her since. Let's talk about Maddie, the daughter who went viral. The daughter who, with one video, turned the internet against me. The daughter I once rocked to sleep at night. Maddie has always been smart, creative, a natural storyteller. She works in Hollywood now, writing scripts. Maybe that's why her version of events was so compelling. It had a hook, a twist, a villain. Me. But what she didn't say in her video is everything I did for her. I paid for her apartment after college. I bought her a car. I gave her $5,000 in cash to help her start her life. When the writer's strike hit and she lost her job, I paid her rent for months, quietly, without asking anything in return. And when I finally couldn't pay anymore, that's when the video came. The timing wasn't subtle. It felt like retaliation, like punishment. But I don't want to believe that. I want to believe she was just expressing pain, processing emotions that had been festering for years. And maybe that's true. Maybe she really did feel abandoned. Maybe it really hurt that I wasn't in the house every night. Maybe all the money, all the visits, all the support, none of it could fix the emotional wound of divorce. I can understand that. What I can't understand is why she never asked me. Why she never came to me and said, "Dad, where were you? What really happened?" Instead, she made a joke. She made a TikTok. She turned me into a meme. And the world laughed with her. I became the break-dancing dad who ditched his family. And no one bothered to check if it was true. But here's what I know. One day she'll look back. Maybe she'll read the court documents. Maybe she'll see the payment receipts, the emails, the birthday cards, the photos. Maybe she'll remember. And if that day ever comes, I'll be here. I'll answer the phone, because I'm still her dad, no matter what she tells the world. Now the only one who still talks to me is Peter, my son. He sees both sides. He remembers what really happened. He remembers the dinners, the visits, the support. But the girls, they're gone. Their version of me is a character built from stories, from pain, from manipulation. I blame Betsy, their mother, for a lot of it. She poisoned the well. She spent years reminding them who she thought I was, and not who I really was. And now they believe it, fully, completely. But the truth is, I never stopped loving them. I never stopped trying. Even after everything, after the divorce, after jail, after being dragged through the internet, I would still answer the phone. I would still show up if they needed me, because I'm still their dad. Always was, always will be. This story isn't about TikTok. It isn't about dancing. It isn't even about money. It's about what happens when stories replace truth, when emotion replaces memory, when the internet replaces conversation. I'm not a perfect man. I made mistakes in my marriage. I made mistakes as a father, but I never walked away. I showed up, I paid, I tried. And I kept trying, even when it hurt, even when it cost me everything. People say money isn't love, and they're right. But I gave everything I could, in every way I knew how. And sometimes that wasn't enough. The internet judged me based on 90 seconds, a punchline, a viral moment. But my life is more than a meme. My story is longer than a soundbite, and so is hers. Maddie's pain is real. Her experience is valid. But so is mine. We're not enemies. We're family. And families are messy. Sometimes they heal. Sometimes they don't. But I will never stop hoping. Never stop waiting. Never stop loving my kids. And if they ever come back to me, not as TikTok creators, not as commenters, not as followers, but as daughters and sons, I'll be right here. I'll open the door. I'll make them coffee, and I'll say, "I'm glad you came," because that's what dads do. Even when the world tells them not to, even when no one's listening, even when they've been broken, they still wait and they still love. Always,